those people who sit there, the parliament, because it is the MPs that are going to be elected come the 2019 general elections. And this special show is all about that. We are kicking off our own understanding of what really is going to happen in the general elections. In that direction is where the Prime Minister sits, but he's already out on a rally in Punjab. That's the funny part. He's already taken off. He's going to be doing about 100 rallies looking ahead to the elections. And this special show is going to be about those special young voices that are actually going to, in a sense, kind of dictate the narrative of what the young people of India are thinking and want. They are the ones who are going to be representative of just that, the voice of young India. Try to understand this. 60% of India's population is young. There are many first-time voters going into this election. So what are they thinking? Do they believe the Prime Minister, particularly after his interview? Because that is the focus of this show. We're trying to understand, was it scripted? Was it an interview that convinced everyone? Did he answer some of the unanswered questions? Did he answer the question about why the BJP, the NDA, in a sense, lost the 3 states that they were, well, in charge of in the first place? So let's get an understanding by first introducing our very high-profile panel. These are youth influencers. I'll start by calling them. Let's start with Shivam. Shivam is an interesting man. He has written an open letter explaining what just happened in his time within the BJP and why he decided to leave it. He is now a political analyst, previously, of course, associated with the BJP. Gurmehar Kaur, also with us. Thank you, Gurmehar, for being with us. An author, a student activist who needs very little introduction. She is one who has gone quite viral in many things that she has said. And also on my right, a very interesting personality who is a sympathizer of the BJP, Gunja Kapoor, but also a policy analyst. Meghnad, also with us, Meghnad S. He's a columnist, a YouTuber, a policy analyst. Oh my God, is there anything you haven't done? But here's interesting. Here's what's interesting. We've checked out our average age, and it's about, what, 26? 26, yeah. And that includes me, and I'm not revealing my age, and I'm not revealing anyone else's age. But let me just start with Gurmehar, because these guys are, usually in-depth in understanding policies. Yeah. But you are somebody who will perhaps get the pulse of what's going on after that interview. Mm-hmm. What is it that you make out of that interview?
I think the first thing that I noticed about the interview, I think we're having all this conversation about the interview happened, is it scripted, is it real? The only question I want to ask is, why is the interview happening now? Is it only that,
But why not? What's the problem?
Why didn't the interview happen before? Where was the Prime Minister when we had these questions to all, when the Junaid lynching happened, when the Sefa case happened, when there's a young woman, or even when this police officer was shot on duty in UP. So where were these interviews? Why is this interview happening in this one very protected space? Like, I understand the designation of a Prime Minister and how you have to, but why aren't you always there to answer a question? So my first question to the Prime Minister, beyond all the interviews, where were you all this time? Okay. Because we needed answers and you were not there. Okay. So about that, I think it came a little too late. Okay, which is why faith dwindles. Okay. Okay, yeah.
But the effect of the interview on the youth. Tell me about that. How
do I feel about the interview? I think he did take up the tougher questions, whether it's on the lynching. The questions were. I'm not saying he took it. I'm thinking I feel like it was just put out there for the sake of being there, because now, if not now, then when? Okay. If those questions weren't asked even in this interview right before the elections, then when will they be asked, right? So I feel like maybe they were put there for the sake of being put there. Okay. But other than that, I think the only reason do I have faith in this interview?
For the sake of being put there, that's a bit double speak. Yeah. Were they hard questions, or were they put there for the sake of it?
Put there for the sake, because at some point you had to answer them. Some point he had to answer them. You can't. We as citizens are not going to let go.
Okay. What are you hearing from within the BJP? What are you hearing from the young people who are sympathetic of the BJP? Has it reassured them? Has it garnered more energy into the workers, particularly the Pramukhs who are very famous?
Okay, so let's put this straight. I am not. I know. Okay. I'm not a part of BJP, but let me also tell everybody that I was one of the few people who were not strong believers of the Modi government when it came to power. And I think the past 1.5 years changed something for me. Okay. And I could see that in the interview as well. Because of course, as she was saying that they needed answers, and he came out when he felt deemed right to come out and answer your questions. As far as Asifa is concerned, he went ahead and the parliament amended the POCSO bill so that we have a death penalty for rapists.
There's an article today itself which actually says that that's not the way forward, because anyway, that's a separate issue. Okay, we don't want to talk
so it's not that there's no action being taken. And as far as violence is concerned, I think when you are getting a little selective, because if the Prime Minister did not speak on certain instances that you choose only to cite, he did not even speak on political violence that happens in West Bengal or Kerala.
Long enough. It wasn't it.
So
he did actually speak.
He did actually speak on the political violence that happened.
The BJP.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's spoken. No. So what this don't misconstrue it. What I'm saying is that now he's spoken about everything. He's not gone ahead and spoken piecemeal basis, whether it happens in West Bengal or Kerala or Rajasthan or Gujarat or anywhere. This time he's taken that.
We're talking about the interview. We're talking about the interview. One second.
This time he's taken that up as an issue which pervades across the nation, and he's chosen to answer it. So
I'm asking you, are you satisfied with that interview? Let me ask it very simply.
Yes, of course I'm very satisfied with the interview. In fact, I was pleasantly surprised to see a lot of questions which people, including me, wanted answers to, and he did go ahead and he answered them.
Okay, all right, okay. Meghnad, go ahead.
I would say that the questions were good. The questions that Smita
You guys
was...
can come a little closer.
Yeah. The questions that Smita was putting forward they actually made sense to me, and she was actually she actually pointed out that she didn't really interrupt him, but she was at bits interrupting him.
3 times she interrupted.
Which we have not seen before, to point it out,
Yeah.
and which also made it look like she was genuinely asking those questions, made it look like being the keyword.
Okay.
And
interestingly, of course, Rahul Gandhi has come out really hard against her.
Yeah.
And a lot of the media has actually backed Smita on this. A lot of it has not, but I think majority has backed Smita to say that at least this was better than the previous interviews. Would you agree?
I think the bar has been set so low now that, if she is actually even interrupting him once or twice, it seems like, oh my God, great interview. But I think the answers were more wanting, right? Like, so for instance, like he always started with the Congress, right? He was like, whenever she asked a question about his government, he would start with the Congress. Like, for instance, I mean,
it wasn't really a question. It was like a statement and
and
reaction.
she gave him enough time to do some political bashing. Nice, like little bit, in a
95-minute
subtle way.
interview.
In a subtle way.
So the thing is, I actually thought it was a really nice interview, even though there was no cross-examination. It's something that no one really expected from the Prime Minister.
There was some cross-examination.
There was some interruptions, but there wasn't exactly cross-examination.
There was examinations. For example, when he started speaking about the middle class, she interrupted and she said that, it's the same thing that what the guy in Puducherry was saying. So it's not that...
She pointed out something, but she never asked for clarification and correction.
If she's a well-read journalist, probably she knows the data at the back of her mind, and probably that's why she was not...
So the point I'm making is that so if you're interviewing someone, it's for the viewers. It's not for your own knowledge, right? So if the viewer doesn't know something, you're supposed to ask them for data. You're supposed to ask someone for clarification. That did not happen. But given that it was a 95-minute interview, you did get to see a lot of the Prime Minister. What you did see was that he's weakened a lot after these 3 losses.
Weakened, that's a strong word.
Yes, it is. Because there are some issues that he just did not touch upon. Employment was one of them. He knows that...
Did he not touch upon it? The question didn't come to him.
The question was not asked. But
So that's not him not touching upon it.
Considering so many people have alleged that the questions were pre-prepared, it is something...
Do you believe it was prepared?
I have absolutely no idea. But I see
No.
I see...
One second. Do you believe? You don't have an idea. Nobody has an idea here.
I would say it was pre-prepared because considering employment
One
is
second.
such a huge
You
issue
can
for the
go to
entire
because.
country, there's no reason for it to not be there in the interview.
Fair enough. Okay. Do you believe it was scripted?
He did speak about Mudra loans, and Mudra is one of the job-creating agents in the Modi government. He touched on that.
But not?
He touched on Mudra loans, but not on employment itself, and which is the biggest problem that the country's youth is facing right now.
According to you. Fair enough. Okay. Do you believe it was scripted?
I don't want to go. I don't want to comment on it in the sense because then I'll be commenting on the ethics of the woman who was, or the journalist who was taking the interview.
Okay.
So I do not want to go there.
Okay, let me help you out there.
Okay.
As many journalists, senior journalists have said, most interviews with very, very senior politicians are, in a sense, there's a little bit of pre-screening, and of course the position of the Prime Minister of a country perhaps even calls for that. And that's a debate that we can leave to. So carry on.
Do I think they were pre-scripted?
Favorably towards him. Let's put it that way.
pre-screened, the word that you do. I wouldn't say it's pre-scripted for him to look
Pre-screened.
like
Okay. Fair
pre-screened.
enough.
Yeah.
Okay. You?
No, I don't think, of course, as you said, that it's possible that he was aware of the questions from beforehand, but I think she went all out to question
Okay.
and...
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was pre-screened, as he rightly put it.
But do you? Okay. Now let me ask the reverse question
Yeah.
on this. Everyone's answered that. The reverse question is that acceptable to you as a viewer?
I don't like that. No.
Okay.
And also, I must point out he has not done a single press conference in like 4.5 years.
Yes.
So
and this
I
is the
think-
world's largest democracy, and there's no press conference. From
And plus, because I'm saying pre-screened specifically because if it's a press conference, it can never be pre-screened
Fair
because
enough.
there are so many people
okay.
there.
You?
No, but
Is that acceptable to you? That even if that the fact that it was pre-screened?
No, but how many times have you...
It's a yes or no question.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So I don't think it was scripted in the first place.
Pre-screened. We talked about. You don't think
No,
it was
no,
pre-screened?
I don't think it was pre-screened in the
Fair
first
enough.
place.
That's it. Okay. Yeah.
Not at all.
It's not
Absolutely,
acceptable.
absolutely not at all acceptable. And I think this is why the first thing I said was,
Okay, let's put it in this way.
4.5
Let me ask you a
years,
counter.
nothing
He
happened.
also said something about how the Lutyens media has not actually opened up to him. He's tried, but he's not been able to get them to be favorable to them. Let's talk about that perspective and then say that, okay, why should he actually open up and why should he not have a pre-screen interview? Because they are anyway not favorable to him, is his point. He said, I've tried, but they just don't open up to me. So in that context, is it okay? Is this interview acceptable to you?
That it was pre-screened. No.
Still not.
No,
Still
have
not.
a press conference. No, we should all do that. I'm like all for, forget interviews. Let's all have I'm all for press conference.
Okay. Is it acceptable as a pre-screen? And of course,
So
because of the fact-
I would say from a journalist point of view, it's very acceptable because
from
otherwise...
your point of view, I don't care about a journalist.
So even from my point of view, I would want a journalist to go out and interview the Prime Minister even if the questions are pre-screened because otherwise no one's getting an interview.
Fair enough.
This gave you...
So it is acceptable.
Exactly. This gave us an insight into what the Prime Minister is thinking about. So it's very acceptable and it's actually a welcome step. The issue comes that he hasn't done a press conference. He hasn't really interacted with the media. He says that he's tried to reach out to them. There are two problems with it. He cancelled taking the media on foreign visits, which is a place where a lot of media and journalist people interacted with the Prime Minister, got informal questions in. That doesn't happen anymore because he's like, thoda sa paisa bachayenge, koi media nahi aayega saath mein. It's a good way to put it that he's saving taxpayer money, but what it also does is that
No,
diminishes
that's not the
accountability.
point. The point is that when the media becomes too pally with you, don't forget there's a risk of them trying to arm twist, them trying to get out information from you. That's one. And why should any prime minister or leader be friendly with the media? Prime minister's job is not to be friendly or make them their travel partners.
Yeah.
No, they were a travel partner for a reason. They were a travel partner so that they could cover the events, they could bring back the reality of what happened. They get covered in exactly the way the Prime Minister wants. It's not a neutral coverage anymore.
Gurmehar, I want to understand from you. He's sounded the 2019 bugle. He's doing 100 rallies. He's made a few clarifications on, let's say, triple talaq, on Sabrimala, on why they lost the 3 states. What is the biggest takeaway for you?
The biggest takeaway from the interview, I think for me, the biggest takeaway would be like Meghnad said. I think the Prime Minister does seem a little calmer. I don't think it's as aggressive as it was before. I don't know how much of
Is that good
it is.
for you? Is that good for
Is
the
that good for
country?
me? Or
For
is
the
that good for?
country?
I think it's absolutely great for the country because I would rather, we're in a democracy. I think the biggest argument I'm going to put out there is I love to have a good opposition. I love to have a good competition. I
He
love
said
to
that,
have.
actually. The Prime Minister
Yeah,
said that.
and so if the Prime Minister is not going all out aggressive, that we are going to end any opposition in the country and we're going to be the, that whole narrative of dictatorship, I would never. In a democracy, I want to have choices. I want to have options. So it's good to see the Prime Minister be a little, away from his
Is he still the
2014.
same?
Yeah,
After
that's
this
what
interview,
I was
is he
just.
still the same factor?
Is he?
Is the Modi factor
I don't
still
think.
as
I
big
think
after this interview?
I think it's
Maybe
not
before this
just,
interview it
no,
wasn't.
I think even before the interview, we just had 3 main Hindi heartland losses. I don't think the factor has been.
No, so one second. One clarification on that. When these are Hindi heartland losses and he projected like that, remember one thing. These are state elections. In state elections, you're voting for the chief minister and potential chief minister of that state. And in a general election, you're voting for the man who's going to become prime minister. Also,
True. I
So in
agree.
that
But I think it's also about. When you compare it with the UP elections, it was it was much different. There was a Modi wave. I remember when the UP elections happened, everyone was like, it's a Modi wave that's happening. So why are we going back on that same? Is it the Modi wave doesn't exist for, let's say, a Rajasthan or a Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh elections when it did for the UP elections? So I think for me, I think the Modi wave, whether it was that election or whether it's these elections, has died.
Did he make up ground after this interview?
Did he make up ground? I don't think so. Not for me.
Not for you?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm glad he took...
No, not at all. It's actually diminished ground.
Okay. For you?
Yes, I think so. He
Okay.
did. I think
What about you?
Yeah.
I'm on your side too. I'll also state my point of view out here, even though I shouldn't. Okay, you were making a point. I interrupted you.
Yeah. So I think again, did he? So yeah. So why talking about going back to the Modi wave? I think it's been diminishing. It has been going down. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When Mr. Modi,
Yeah.
before being Prime Minister, projected this Congress Mukt Bharat image without that nuance, do you think they believed that it was about the ideology of the Congress that he wanted to remove, or that he wanted to remove the Congress party?
No,
This is your question, please.
yeah. So I think everybody who understood where he's coming.
The common person. Did the common person?
Yeah, the common person, and probably because he was so connected with the common person, and like a lot of us who are 80,000 feet above the ground, they understood what he meant.
Yeah.
Because the way, and you do see
Okay,
the series
hold
of
on.
losses that Congress went through
Okay, hold
after
on, hold on.
2014.
Can you answer the same question?
Do I think I
terms of
think
perception,
I
did
think
they-
that's the first thing that came to my mind when he said Congress Mukt. I think for the longest time the Congress Mukt idea was that there is not going to be an opposition.
Do you
that we're
believe
going
that the
to
people believe that?
Not the only opposition,
No,
Gurmehar.
hold on.
Congress is not the
No, but
only
hold
opposition.
on.
Not
But I'm
the
saying,
only
do
option, of course,
you think
definitely.
the people believed that he wanted the Congress to be removed from the country?
I mean, इतनी देर तो clarify नहीं किया, अब जाके कर रहे हैं. So
I can tell you that the party workers very much believed it, and it was a rallying cry.
Yeah.
So
the BJP's party worker,
Yes.
as a BJP party worker in the past,
Exactly.
you're saying that that's what you even believed, and
yeah,
the
yeah.
others also believe.
Yeah. Everyone believed that Congress Mukt Bharat as a slogan means कि कांग्रेस को हटाना है, कहीं सत्ता में नहीं बचनी
So there's a
चाहिए.
huge shift in position.
There is a huge shift in position.
सत्ता में नहीं बचनी चाहिए. Of course, you have to defeat them in electoral battles.
No.
But I don't think there was any sort of vendetta. Anybody was being put in the who went into the prison from the Congress party. Amitosh, tell me
And
that.
came out on bail is something that he mentioned also. But the
No,
point
but
I'm trying to
that's
make
a
is,
fact,
but
that's
the
a
point I'm
fact,
trying to
but-
make is that
but
the
was
viciousness, the level of conversation in terms of civility had gone
I
down
don't
to a
think-
level
I don't
that
think
there was.
No, but you know what you make it sound like is a political emergency. No, it was not a political emergency. I think elections.
That's not what we're making it sound like.
Elections were being held.
No.
free and
That's not
fair.
what. Let him clarify. Let him
That,
clarify.
so India's elections have been very free and fair. I'm very sure of it because I've actually worked on elections.
Yeah.
And
And EVM is not compromised.
Yep, the EVM is not compromised, and it can't be because of like limitations in the process,
guys,
not
separate
the
issue.
technical reasons, but separate issue. Yeah. So what the point I'm trying to make here is that the slogan for Congress Mukt Bharat was not about removing a type of thinking. It wasn't about removing just corruption. It was actually about removing the Congress party from power.
You agree?
Do not
Do you agree?
interpret
Do you
it as
agree?
some kind of
Yeah.
violent form
So
of
I think the one constant narrative in Hindi was उनको जड़ से उखाड़ना है, जड़ से निकालना है, and
Let's not
Congress
get into
party
nuance. Did you
हटाना
think
है.
that he wanted to remove the?
Yes, absolutely.
That's
The
all.
Congress.
All right, okay, but he changed the position on that. What else did he not answer convincingly? What is it that he's changed his position on? We'll come back right after this break. A special panel right here. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. We are at, well, the most iconic part of India in a sense when it comes to politics. And we are talking about politics with the connection of what happened in the interview that the Prime Minister did as the bugle was sounded for the 2019 general elections. Meghnad, what did he not answer, according to you?
I think more than not answering, there was a lot of misinformation. Like there should be a lot
There
of
was a
fact.
lot of misinformation.
I would say there was.
Being rather
I
unfair, I think.
I would say there was because okay, let's not call it misinformation. It was misleading. A
Okay,
lot
thank
of
you. Good
places
phrase.
where he was misleading.
Okay.
Or let's call it jumla, whatever it is. But like for
He's gonna
instance,
shoot you right now.
demonetization. Please don't shoot me. For instance, about demonetization, where he clearly said that cash in the economy has reduced. One simple example.
No, but
it
what about
hasn't.
the fact that he said that we had warned you in a sense that demonetization is a step that could happen for an entire year?
Yeah, where did that come from? I didn't understand where that came from actually. And also about the, for instance, he said this very clearly that Parliament as an institution, gehri charcha honi chahiye, etc.
Yeah,
but
you
his government has basically reduced the number of days of functioning.
Do you think people are saturated of the amount of messaging that has happened from the Prime Minister directly?
No, I don't think so because every conversation touches a different aspect. So I don't think there's saturation, but yeah, I strongly feel that he should have used this to tell more about his own schemes and success stories. Yeah.
Okay, fair. I actually kind of agree with you there. Yeah.
I think definitely. I think someone who's taken such strong feminist stances even in the past. I think the whole little conversation between Sabrimala and the triple talaq. I don't buy that argument. I don't buy the whole a women cannot enter Sabrimala because
is a tradition.
It's a tradition. I mean, a long time back, Gautam Sati was a tradition that had to end at some point, right? At this point, you're just saying for Muslim women, and while I agree, I do think triple talaq should be,
instant triple talaq
instant triple talaq should be, it's not, it's one, not constitutional, not, it's, I agree on that.
The criminalization aspect, that a man could be sent to jail for 3 years.
For like an instant...
For instant triple talaq. And he could be out on bail also.
I'm not going to comment on that, but I agree with the fact that it's not a practice that I endorse. But on the other hand, this little double take, Sabrimala is tradition.
And this is gender
at
equality.
one time tradition was sati as well, right? And it had to end. And if you are someone who's really standing for women's rights, okay, then you stand for women's rights everywhere. Then you stand for Hindu women's rights as well. They want to go and pay their tribute. Yeah, you have to pay the respects. You should do it.
Okay, yeah.
So what I found really missing was a recognition that there are some real problems that the country is facing. He did not accept the narrative that farmers are under distress and they are under crisis. He actually explained his schemes for the farmers and said things are improving. And that's how he talked against farm loan waivers. He didn't talk about youth unemployment. On demonetization, most of the country now thinks that it's been a massive failure because all the money came back. He failed to recognize that. What I would have wanted from the Prime Minister was some amount of recognition for the things that are going wrong in the country. That's about it.
All right, okay. Thank you. And I hope to have this conversation going forward into 2019 general elections with all four of you. And I'm sure it's going to be as riveting as this discussion has been. I enjoyed it. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.